Have you ever noticed something strange? When someone says, I'm addicted to coffee, they smile. When someone says, I'm addicted to my phone, they laugh. But when someone says, I'm addicted to a person, suddenly, silence. Because at that point, we don't call it addiction anymore. We call it love. And that's exactly where the problem starts. Let me ask you a simple question. If love is supposed to make you calm, confident, and free, then why does love sometimes make people anxious, insecure, jealous, and sleepless? Why does love sometimes feel less like happiness and more like a withdrawal symptom? Today, let's talk about a truth nobody likes to hear. Why addiction is often mistaken for love. Think about addiction first. Addiction means you need something to feel okay. Without it, you feel empty, restless, or uncomfortable. With it, you feel temporary relief, not permanent peace. Now think about many modern relationships. You wake up, and the first thing you do is check their message. If there's no reply, your mood drops. If they reply late, your brain starts overthinking like it's running a marathon. If they talk sweetly, you feel high. If they act distant, you feel low. That's not romance. That's an emotional roller coaster with no safety belt. Let's make it more real. Imagine a guy who says, I can't live without her. Sounds romantic, right? But replace her with cigarettes. And listen again. I can't live without cigarettes. Suddenly, it doesn't sound cute anymore. Because the truth is simple. Love adds to your life. Addiction replaces your life. Here's why addiction feels like love. Addiction gives intensity. Love gives stability. But humans are dramatic creatures. We confuse intensity with depth. Butterflies in the stomach? That's not always love. Sometimes that's anxiety. Constant thinking about someone? That's not always connection. Sometimes that's obsession. Missing someone badly? That's not always care. Sometimes that's emotional dependency. Real love doesn't scream all the time. Real love doesn't keep you guessing. Real love doesn't punish you with silence. But addiction does. Addiction whispers, without this person, you're nothing. Love whispers, you were whole before me, and you're whole with me. Let's talk about the brain for a second. Don't worry, no boring science. When you're addicted, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is not the love chemical, it's the reward chemical. The same chemical lights up when you eat junk food, scroll endlessly, gamble, smoke. Get validation from someone that high you feel when they text you. That's dopamine. But dopamine doesn't care about your happiness. It only cares about more. More attention, more reassurance, more drama, more chasing. Love, on the other hand, slowly releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin feels warm, safe, and peaceful. But peace is boring to an addicted mind. That's why many people say, he was toxic, but the connection was strong. No, the addiction was strong. The connection was weak. Let me give you a simple example. A kid loves ice cream. If he gets it sometimes, he enjoys it. If he gets it every hour, he cries without it. Same ice cream, different relationship. That's how love turns into addiction. When your happiness depends on someone's mood. When your self-worth depends on their attention. When your peace depends on their presence. You're not in love. You're emotionally addicted. And addiction always demands control. You start checking their last scene. You reread old chats like historical documents. You imagine scenarios that never happened. You fight in your head before any real fight. Love doesn't make you a detective. Addiction does. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Addiction feels passionate in the beginning. Love feels boring in the beginning. That's why people leave healthy relationships saying, I don't feel the spark. What they really mean is, I don't feel the anxiety I'm used to. Healthy love doesn't make your heart race every 5 minutes. It lets your heart rest. Addiction keeps your nervous system on emergency mode. Love puts it on airplane mode. So why do people call addiction love? Because calling it addiction hurts the ego. It forces you to admit, I'm not attached because they're special. I'm attached because I'm afraid of being alone. And that truth is heavy. It's easier to say, I love too deeply. No, you attach too deeply. Love doesn't beg. Love doesn't chase. Love doesn't shrink you. Love expands you. Here's the difference in one line. Remember this. If losing them feels like losing yourself, that's addiction. If losing them hurts, but you still remain yourself, that's love. Addiction says, stay, or I'll break. Love says, stay, because we grow. Now let's end with a little humor and truth combined. If your love makes you overthink at 2 a.m., stalk profiles like it's your job, ignore your self-respect, feel anxious more than happy, congratulations. You're not in love. You're emotionally subscribed and forgot to cancel the plan. Real love doesn't drain your battery. It charges it. So next time you feel something intense, dramatic, and overwhelming, don't ask, is this love? Ask something better. Does this make me more peaceful or more dependent? Because love is freedom. Addiction is attachment, wearing a romantic mask. And now that you know the difference, you'll never confuse the two again.